No longer do you need a $10,000 camera, a lighting rig, and a Steadicam to make great videos. If you've got a smartphone, you can be a videographer or a director or a video producer. I'm Erin from TechGadgetsCanada.com for Best Buy Canada's blog, and anyone can shoot, but what can you do to take your videos to the next level? How about getting a gimbal? I recently had a chance to try out the new DJI Osmo Mobile 3 gimbal, so I'm going to tell you all about my experience, including what it can do, how to use it, and whether I think it's a good investment for your videos. So what does the Osmo Mobile 3 do? The DJI Osmo Mobile 3 is essentially a handle that you hold your smartphone with. It helps you get those smooth, buttery, stable shots that you couldn't get with your shaky hands on your phone alone. The gimbal has on-handle controls so you can move, tilt, and zoom without touching your phone. It does need to shoot through the DJI Mimo app to use all the controls. The other thing about this handheld gimbal in particular is that it leaves you a place to plug in a microphone, which is huge because most other gimbals, including previous iterations of this from DJI, don't. Now, because of the angled design of the arm, you can plug things into the charging or aux ports without destabilizing the phone. It also folds up nicely for transport. Depending on your needs, you can get the Mobile 3 on its own or in the combo kit, which comes with a travel case and a tripod base, which screws into a thread in the bottom of the gimbal. Setting up the device is pretty straightforward. Make sure the gimbal is charged and then download the DJI Mimo app from your app mall of choice. You'll set up your account and pair the gimbal to your phone using Bluetooth. Unfold the stabilizer arm and place your phone into the sliding bracket. Some lettering on there shows you which direction to place it in. Try to balance the phone somewhat evenly and then power the gimbal on. You'll see the device wake up and snap to action, placing the phone front and center vertically for you. You can shoot vertically if you must, but to switch to horizontal, just gently swivel the phone. The DJI Osmo Mobile 3 will instantly get what you're doing and make the orientation adjustment. One of the cooler features of this device is that if you use the DJI Mimo app, you can enable subject tracking. Now, this allows you to identify a person or an object, and the gimbal will automatically work to always keep it center frame, no matter where you're moving it or what you're doing. I actually found this feature worked surprisingly well, and it was really useful, particularly if I wanted to do something like a walking shot or if I was trying to talk while I was in motion. So I was all set to show you a video I shot so you can see the stabilization and subject tracking. And while it looks great, you're probably on edge right now because my audio doesn't match the video. And that's because I found a huge problem with the Osmo Mobile 3. When your video is shot on an iPhone 11 using the Mimo app and imported into Apple's Final Cut Pro for editing, it doesn't bring the audio track, and that is a pretty big problem. You can get around it by using the native camera, but that kind of defeats some of the purpose of having this device. I'll post a link to a forum about this problem below. This is a pretty big problem for me with this device. Anyhow, let's look at some of the other features. Although the hardware for the Osmo Mobile 3 is really impressive, a lot of the work happens in the software. The DJI Mimo app is not just a gimmicky app for the sake of it. Some of the best features like subject tracking and sport mode, which increases the response times of the gimbal, comes from the app, and it is really integral to getting the most out of this gimbal. The Osmo Mobile 3 gives you really seamless integration of that hardware and software. The Mimo app integrates with the various buttons and controls on the Osmo Mobile 3 so that you can use them on the fly. So let's dig into what those controls are and how they work. The power button has a lot going for it. Click and hold to power on or off. Double click it and you can automatically change the orientation of the camera from vertical to horizontal. Triple tap to put the camera and gimbal into standby mode. The record button is self-explanatory. There's also a flat joystick button or a swivel for moving the camera around. There's a zoom in and out rocker on the left-hand side of the handle, and there's also a trigger on the far side of the handle, and it too has multiple actions. Click once and you can start or stop active tracking. Hit it twice and the gimbal will recenter, going to its default position. And finally, a triple tap will switch between the front and a rear-facing camera. I will say using the controls does take a bit of getting used to in terms of remembering which buttons need how many taps to execute your shortcuts. So fortunately, you can also do all of these things by just tapping on the camera inside the Mimo app. The DJI Osmo Mobile 3 is designed for portability and to be easy to use. The gimbal is really comfortable to hold in one hand, and all of the buttons and controls are easy to access without needing your second hand. While the weight makes it feel durable and rugged, it's not overly heavy. I will say that with the weight of the gimbal and the smartphone all at once, it is kind of noticeable, but the way the handle is balanced and designed makes it less of a strain. As I mentioned earlier, the way the Osmo Mobile 3 is constructed specifically leaves a place for accessories to be connected into the bottom of your phone. Now, I initially bought a previous iteration of this gimbal and realized there is no way to connect audio, so back it went. Overall, I found a lot to love about this gimbal. It's compact, meaning I can and did travel quite easily with it. It adds a new level of stabilization to my videos, meaning they look more professional. The Osmo Mobile 3 was easy to set up and easy to use, and the app is really user-friendly and does a lot. There's also lots of onboard controls you can use for shortcuts, and my only complaint is that they're hard to keep straight, but that's really more my problem than the gimbal's. But there is that other pretty big problem, and that's the missing audio when using the gimbal with the new iPhone and Apple's Final Cut Pro editor. If you're not using Apple, you'll probably be fine, but for those of us who are, you might want to hold off on getting this until the issue is resolved. While I like this device, right now, it's simply a pretty big paperweight for me. If you want to read more about it, head over to blog.bestbuy.ca, where we've posted a full write-up, and you can ask us any questions you have about this device either there on the blog or, as always, here on the YouTube channel. I'm Erin. If you liked this video and found it helpful, please hit that like button and give me a sub, because it does help me keep making more videos that I hope everyone out there can watch, enjoy, and learn from. Until the next time, you can catch me on Twitter or Instagram. I'm at ErinLYYC. You can also always catch me at facebook.com/TechGadgetsCanada.